back to Simple Tech Media. I am Tina, and we're here with Niki. I don't know if you Apple people out there have noticed that Apple has recently rolled out their form of AI, and it is called Apple Intelligence. And we thought that we would just talk a little bit about some of the things we've seen with it. I know that it's been kind of in the works for a few months and it's been rolling out a little bit at a time for different people, but I think it's become more popular right now where it's rolling out for more and more. I think if you have an iPhone 15 and higher, depending on the update that you have, I think it's iOS 18 something that it'll roll out. And then, if you have a MacBook or an iMac, with the latest update, it is definitely making itself known for everybody. Niki and I talked about seeing Apple Intelligence a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but even since then, so last time, Niki, you asked me if I had seen my phone starting to summarize my text and things. That happened this week. My phone updated, and now I get the little summary that pops up. And honestly, if you hadn't told me that it was going to be a summary, I probably would have just thought, oh, it's giving me a notification and that's what the text is. But since you said that, I knew, oh, it's just summarizing. And so now it's pretty funny. A while ago, it sent me a summary of a picture that my sister-in-law sent of my nephew. And he was sitting, just playing around in the car, and he's sitting there in the front seat. And the way that it summarized it was not at all what I was expecting to see when I clicked on the picture, because he's almost 2. So he's just little. But it was like, man sits in car seat or something like that. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was not what I was expecting when I opened the picture. And, sometimes that AI just doesn't always fit the bill exactly the way that you want it to. So you just have to watch for that. So as we go and talk about this topic, I will just give the disclaimer that we always say is that as interesting as AI can be for some of us, I know it can be scary for other people as well. It really is just a part of life right now. So I think it's good to be informed about what it might be doing or how we could potentially use it, how we can turn the features off if we want to, whatever. But I think it all boils down to AI is not taking over the world in that we as human beings will not have purpose. I think anything that we do with the tool of AI, we always have to use our own common sense, our own human brains and perception to decide, is this legitimate? Is this real? Is this giving me the product that I wanted? If you're using AI to generate graphics or photos or videos or text, you always want to go back through and just make sure that everything looks good and that it's not adding something there that is not true, that is, harmful to other people. You just want to be very respectful of using that tool. AI is very popular in the world, but we as humans are still in control of the world. I think I would say. Episode done. Cut. And we've already talked about the Apple Intelligence summarizing our text messages. What are some other things you've seen or heard about it that it can be used for, or that it's automatically, once it gets loaded, it's automatically doing to watch out for?
Okay. I have a little bit of a hot take on Apple Intelligence.
Okay. Niki's hot take. Okay.
I love all things Apple. I truly do. Like I have a MacBook, I have an iPad, I have an iPhone. I love all things Apple. But I must say, I think they're behind the ball a little bit. And they realized that they were behind the ball because Google was putting out all of this stuff like a long time ago.
Right.
And I think they realized they were behind the ball. So they started releasing, like you said, it's been kind of releasing slowly. And so I think they're slowly starting to release these things, but I don't think it's quality. Like, I don't think it's up to par.
Yeah.
Like you just said, even the text messages coming out, having a summary of your text messages would be so helpful, except the summaries never make any sense at all. Like, and it'll summarize your notifications too. Like, it's not just text, it'll summarize all your notifications. But the summary, like they don't go, because you don't typically have like one singular notification from one person.
Right.
So if it was that, like the same person over and over again, and it was summarizing like that conversation, fantastic, but it will
Mhm.
try to summarize all 7 different conversations you're having, and when you read it, you're like, "Excuse me, what? What's happening on my phone right now?"
Right.
So
Right.
so, like, while the tool is helpful, I think it might have been released a little too fast to try to keep up with everything that Google's doing, and
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think all of it is quality. Again, love Apple. But I think we probably should have, like, waited to make sure it's exactly the way that they wanted
Mhm.
it to be before they released it, because then we're having all these problems, and then everyone is saying, "Well, okay." Like,
Right.
okay. For example,
Mhm.
another example. So we have the summarizing of the text messages, which is fine. Um, fantastic. There are some features that I do think are great. All of the emoji stuff, you talked about using the emoji set before. You would make your own sticker.
Mhm.
Remember when and if you didn't watch that in one of our last episodes, go back and watch
Right.
it. So like that, super fun, super, but like the other parts of it, I mean, I don't make like cartoon emojis like on a daily basis. Like I don't
Right.
think I'm the target demographic
Right.
for that. There's another feature that I do think is very helpful, and it's recording and transcribing of
Mhm.
phone calls. It can
Mhm.
do that. So like you press the button on a phone call and it says this voice call is being recorded or this audio call is being recorded. Like when you call like the credit card company and
Mhm.
everything's being recorded. If you have like a sensitive conversation and you need to have both sides of the conversation,
Mhm.
super helpful to
Mhm.
make sure there's nothing misunderstood, misinterpreted. I think that's great. But that feature that we can do on a phone call, you can't do in the recording app. So why would we release one thing that's so so good, but then like when we're actually talking about recordings, you can't do it in the recordings app. You have to go through the notes app to do it.
I will say though, I just saw that the recordings
Did they
you
do it?
can. So again, they're rolling stuff
Okay.
out slowly, but
Okay. I could
I
be
I just
wrong.
saw, yes, let me go into my voice memos. But I saw
That's
that you could.
fantastic. And transcribe and do all that.
That's what I believe. Let me see. I just saw that. Where did it
That
go?
is so great. So feedback.
Yeah.
They're slowly because I was so
Summarize an audio
confused.
transcript.
I
It
was
can
so
summarize a
confused.
recording like a phone call or lecture.
Good.
Okay, so this is coming from a recording. Yeah, open the recording in your note, then click summary. So that's in a note.
Right.
So maybe you're saying, okay,
Not
okay,
in
I got
the
it.
memo.
Not
Yeah.
in the memo.
So
Okay.
like where the place that you actually go to make a recording,
Right.
it won't do it. You have to go through the notes app in order to make a so it's like why like it just doesn't make sense. Like I don't think all of it
Okay, so
makes
I'm in my
sense.
recordings right now, and there's a button that you can click on. It looks like a little bubble with quotation marks in it. When I click on that, it gives me the transcription for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Is that what you're asking for? Is that what you're talking about?
Well,
Hold on, this one's transcribing. It doesn't say Apple Intelligence with it. It just gives me a transcription.
yeah, because and my first time, let me
Yeah.
show because it'll give
Let me see if it does it on my phone.
like I have the Apple Intelligence in my notes app.
Uh huh. If you open up your recordings, let me just saw mine, or your voice memos, and you click on a voice memo. I'm trying to find one that if it accidentally plays, it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, I'm not seeing like Apple Intelligence, like the AI part of it in voice memo.
Maybe it's just, okay. Okay. If you go into your recording, do you have a recording there on your phone?
Yes, girl.
Why would I suggest otherwise? Voice memo. What are you using all your voice memos for?
Girl, I try to record everything.
I gotcha. Okay, so if you click on a recording and then you click on, so mine says new recording to, and it, shows the play button. You can go back and forward 15 seconds. It has a trash can, and then there's a button that has the little lines that shows like recording. Do you see that?
Um, yes.
So when you click on that, it opens up the recording
Right.
and you have the big replace button. To the left of the replace button, do you have a little button that has quotation mark?
That says can't transcribe audio.
Mine does.
16.
What phone do you have? Really?
Yeah. And that's the same thing. That's the same thing with okay, so another Apple Intelligence
Mhm.
feature is the cleanup. I'm sure everyone has seen the cleanup in photos.
Mhm.
So like you can remove background images
Mhm.
and but if like it's so picky. Like if you make a selection that they think is too big for them to remove, then they won't remove it. If it's too like confusing. So I had in my office, there's like a black and white striped
Mhm.
picture frame. So I
Right.
wanted to remove the picture frame. So I
Mhm.
circled the picture frame, it highlighted it all. And when it went to remove it, it just like still has the stripes, but like smaller. And I'm like, what in the world? And then I tried to remove a chair out of it and it said, try removing something smaller. So it like works
So what's the
sometimes,
point?
doesn't, yeah, like it
Yeah.
works sometimes, doesn't work other times. The another, I'm just going through all of them now.
Right.
So
Go for
another
it.
another tool is
Mhm.
the writing. Have you seen the writing? Writing into I don't know what it's called, but it like enhances writing.
Mhm. Yes.
So that's what I was actually pulling up in my notes app.
Right. Yes, I've seen that in there.
Okay, let me just pull up my notes. Okay, so when you go to make one of the notes, it has the little Apple Intelligence button on it,
Right.
and then it says describe how you want to change it.
Mhm.
Do you want to proofread it? Do you want to make it more friendly? Whatever, blah blah blah. But if your document is too big, it says this selection is too big. Try smaller selection. Like it works. It's temperamental.
Right.
That's the way
Mhm.
I'd like to describe it. Temperamental.
I feel like, and I am agreeing with the path that you're going with this thought. As we look at it, it's like, oh, okay, it's going to do that. Well, yeah, but I've had tools now for a couple of years that can do, most of what we've just talked about.
Right.
And one of the ones that I was going to say, so it's interesting to me that this is the way that you're taking this. I I had seen the playground, I think is what
Oh,
they call it,
the image playground.
the image playground.
Mhm.
And I kept seeing it and I thought, oh, I need to look at that so that, maybe we can talk about that one. Basically, and right now it's in the beta version. So when I open it up, it tells me on there it's
Yes.
in beta, which if you don't know, that just means that it's kind of like a preview. So they're still working on it. If you see beta on something, that means that they still have kinks that they're trying to work out. It's not a finished product yet. Sometimes beta is only available for a small group of people, and then sometimes they'll expand it, make it more available to others as they get closer to being able to release it to the masses. So this is still in beta as far as my computer is telling me, and it's giving a warning that image playground may create unexpected results, which is fine. But as I'm looking at this is exactly what I've been doing in Canva all this time. I've made videos about doing this in Canva, of being able to do exactly what Niki was just saying, where you take an image and you remove an element from, you can take away the background or you can move an element in there, change it. There are so many resources out there already that already do this. So for the fact that they're so far behind where they're just rolling this out and this is simply in beta form right now,
Right.
it's like, Apple, where have you been?
And that's where like I'm I don't want to say I'm hurt.
A little disappointed.
I mean, I love Apple and I love
Mhm.
the features,
Mhm.
but they're just like not crisp and clean
Mhm.
when there's other companies that have rolled. I mean, my sister does not use Apple and she has been using these features for the past
Right.
year on
Right.
her devices and it's working great. So why are we still in beta on a lot of this?
Right.
Or it's temperamental and it won't work on this specific file, or this one's too long, or it doesn't like this one. And I know technology can be tricky.
Mhm.
I know that. Doesn't matter
Right.
what platform you're on. I understand that. So I'm not saying that something's wrong with them because it chooses when it wants to work, but just that the features are so far behind, you would think that when they finally roll out with staying current with everyone else, that it's going to be crisp.
Right.
and we're not there, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, it's not on the cusp of greatness.
I
It is just at
I
this point mediocre.
I love and I love
Mhm.
it. I do love the features a lot. I just want them to work all the time.
Mhm. Yeah. The fact that it will tell you that there's not like it's too much text to be able to change. ChatGPT, Copilot is another one that's available. There are several others out there that you can use where they will change and it'll be a good amount of text that it will clean up for you in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
Even if you're using the free version of stuff, even for ChatGPT, I dropped something in the other day and I just said, reword this so that it fits this need. Okay, reword it again so that it's this. Reword it until it got exactly the way that I wanted it. And it was just within seconds that that was going. And I wasn't even logged in to anything. I didn't even have an account with them. I do have an account with them, not a paid one. But this was literally me just pulling it up on a random browser, just dropping text in. So yeah, that is sad. I really like Apple too. I feel like it's usually more user friendly
It
in
is
my opinion, and
100%.
so that's what is appealing to me about it. But it's not as intuitive as what I would have wanted.
Right. I
Hmm.
do. One of the other features of is the actual intelligence button that we have on our phones now
Hmm.
that incorporates Chat GPT in it,
Hmm.
which is so fun. So like when you hold your button, let me just do it so that way I can show exactly. Okay, so when you hold your button down and it pops up on the screen, you can take a picture of something and then you can ask Chat GPT a question about whatever you just took a picture of, or you can search whatever you just took a picture
Hmm.
of online. But again, not as intuitive as you would want because I
Right.
wanted to see like I mean, I am being harsh and I know I'm being harsh
Hmm.
just because we want the best out
Right.
there.
Right.
Um so I took a picture of my TV and
Hmm.
obviously I was watching Friends. So I took a picture of my TV that was playing Friends
Hmm.
and I just asked what show is playing on my TV.
Hmm. Right.
Obviously, it can't like, I was hoping it would, like, analyze, like,
Yeah.
Ross and, like, know Ross is from Friends, so then, like, pull up Ross, but it just, like, brought back, like, TVs.
Oh, see,
That
I was thinking it was like it could tell you, "Hey, this is episode like season 3, episode
see?
12 or something." The
See?
one where, and fill in the title for you.
Right. See, that's what I was hoping. Like I can just take a picture of something and it will automatically analyze like what I'm taking the picture of
Mhm.
and be so smart to know that when I'm saying what TV show is this, instead of looking at the TV and showing me TVs, it'll look at the image on the TV and use that to cross search against other
Right.
images and
Yeah,
pull
it's
up
not there.
friends.
Mhm.
Like that's what I was, but again, I know I'm holding it to such a high standard.
But I
Yeah,
feel like so
at
Google
this
has
point,
had where you can drop pictures into Google and it'll give you so much detail.
yes.
For a long time it's been doing that. So
Yes.
that's intriguing to me. Okay, so the other thing is I always turn Siri off of my phone every time I get a phone because one time I was sitting in church and it just started talking. So I think it must have just pressed up against something, if my foot kicked it or something. So I've just always turned it off.
Mhm.
I don't usually use Siri. Well, I saw that with Apple Intelligence is supposed to really enhance the features of Siri. So I was
Yeah.
curious about that. And the one that they're really promoting, I would have thought that it did it already. So I was a little bit like, oh,
Mhm.
because when I saw it initially that there were better features, I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll start using it. It was that you can now type in and ask questions to Siri instead of just talking to Siri. And I thought you couldn't do that already. Like, am I missing something there?
You
Could you
know?
not do that already?
I don't think so. Not that
That's
I mean, I haven't used Siri that much, but, like, you typically just hold down the button and talk.
yeah.
I never
So
really thought about
I'm hoping
more.
that I'm just misunderstanding that. So somebody please let me know in the comments, am I just misinterpreting that? So then the other thing that they were saying is, you just type in your question and then it'll cross reference for you. You just keep on talking to it and it'll remember the conversation, which is helpful. So, it gave the example of ask the weather in this certain location. This is what the weather's going to be. And then now just say, well, book a trip there for me for whatever date or whatever it is. And so it'll remember the location you were talking about, which is again helpful. But I was a little bit surprised those still aren't things that it's already doing if you're within that same conversation. So
Right.
I still have not been enticed. I don't feel like I need to turn Siri on still, even with that. I was just a little bit like, oh, okay, you know,
Yeah.
just okay, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah. The amount of times Siri has gone off in the middle of me teaching
Oh yes,
because I used to
on my
wear
watch.
my
Yes.
watch.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, I would accidentally press a button or whatever, and then I'm in the middle of teaching, and then all of a sudden, I didn't quite get that.
Right. Mine, I would look down and I would have so much text on the watch of, however much time I had been talking.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So I had to turn it off on my watch too, but still, it would still pop up every once in a while. So I don't know. All right. So this is our overview of Apple Intelligence. I will say the graphics are really pretty for it.
Oh, one.
The button that pulls up for it is really pretty. It kind of looks like a flowery image to me, or like stars that are on top of each other without points on the end. They're more curved. It's really pretty. Anytime you see that button, that's what that is. I will say also it is providing opportunity for that TLDR that we talked about, that summary at the top of long text where it will give you information. If you see this little button pop up, you can click on that and it'll give you a summary of what's to come or what's been listed there. That is so helpful. And I do see that pop up a lot. I do think that the summary of a long text or something can be very helpful. I just think as we move forward with this, we'll keep an eye out to see if anything comes out that just really, really strikes us as a great feature, one that we haven't seen before. But for right now, I think my stamp of approval. All right, so let's say our simple text stamp. We have stamp of approval, stamp of disappointment. I'm going to say for this one, just kind of stamp of mediocre. I feel like would be my stamp for this one. I feel like it's about time for them to release some of these features, but I just don't feel like they're state of the art features at this point.
Right. I mean, like we said before, there's the writing tools could be super, super helpful. But make this sound more professional, make this sound more friendly. Like,
Right.
those can be great, but I would love to see them come out with something that hasn't already been in the works for the past year.
Right. That we haven't already been using
Yeah, I would
over and over.
I would love that so much. But
I know.
again, love that.